Okay, so now that you know a little bit about Dropbox and you're ready to start working with it and see how it works, I'm here at the DropBox.com homepage. I'm in my web browser here. I use Chrome as my preferred internet browser, so if you use something else like Internet Explorer or Mozilla Firefox, your interface will look a little bit different as far as what appears up here in the top and on the bottom, but everything will still work the same way. There might be some slight differences on different browsers about how they display certain things and some of the compatibility, but the overall work of Dropbox will be the same. So when you go to Dropbox.com, this is the page here. You can watch a little video about how Dropbox works. It goes a little bit more in depth than what I'm going to be going into today, but now you can either decide to download Dropbox, which we'll do in a minute after we create an account. If you don't already have a Dropbox account, when you click the little arrow here next to the sign in button, if you have an account, you can enter your username and password up there and sign in. But if you don't, you can just click create account here. You can enter your first name, your last name, your email address, agree to the terms, and then you can create that account. Then it's going to ask you to download Dropbox to your desktop computer. Follow the instructions there to learn how that works. We're not going to go into that in depth this time because different people have different ways of installing things on their own computers. Just follow the instructions here, watching the video on the Dropbox homepage. Get Dropbox installed, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, once you have Dropbox installed, what it's going to do first is create a folder for you within your computer's file system. Now, I'm using Microsoft Windows 7. Some of you may be using a different operating system. If you use a Mac, this is going to look totally different. If you use Windows XP, this may look a little similar, but it's still going to have some differences. But right now, the majority of people that I work with are using the Windows 7 operating system. And so this is a file explorer in the Windows 7 operating system. If you don't know how to get a file explorer open, what you can do is click on your start menu and just click on your name in kind of the top right portion of the start menu there, and it'll bring up something like this that will be a list of your own personal files where you can find things like your documents, my pictures, my videos, things like that. Dropbox is going to create its folder right here. As we can see here, a securely backed up place to put your important files. This tells me the size of my Dropbox folder right now, the date it was created, and all that kind of good stuff. Also, it creates something in your favorites over here. If you have this file explorer bar open on the left hand side under favorites, Dropbox puts a shortcut to its folder right there in your favorites so that you can find it quickly. Now, this is my personal Dropbox folder here, so it has a whole bunch of subfolders within it that you won't have when you initially install Dropbox, but this will just give you an idea of some of the things that you can use it for. I use it, a lot of my accounting stuff is within Dropbox as far as copies of my invoices and receipts, things like that. Some of my banking and stuff is in here. I have some books that I use on mobile devices and stuff like that that I like to have synced up. One interesting thing that Dropbox will do, if you install Dropbox on your phone or another mobile device like a tablet, an iPad, or an Android tablet, it has an option where it'll do camera uploads for you. So if you take pictures with your iPhone or with your tablet like your iPad, you have the option of it automatically syncing all the pictures that you take into the camera uploads folder, which is pretty convenient if you're going to go out and take listing photos with your mobile device or something like that. Well, they'll immediately sync back up here into camera uploads, and you don't have to download them to your computer by plugging it in or doing anything like that. Have some other folders here. You know, it usually by default will create a photos folder for you also, so you might see that. The other thing it's going to create for you automatically is a public folder. When we talked about Dropbox being a private system, well, if you put anything in the public folder, that becomes visible to anybody that has your Dropbox account name, so they can go in there and browse what's in your public folder. This is handy if you're going to share stuff with people on Facebook, or maybe you have a PDF file or something like that that you want to get out to a bunch of people and provide a download link. The public folder is really cool, and we'll show you how that works after a while. These other folders, if it doesn't show a little icon that shows multiple people involved, if it just has a green check mark by it, that means it's going to be just a normal private folder. The green check mark, by the way, means that this folder is synced to the cloud and ready to go across all of your other devices. So the green check marks are good. If you have something else, when you create a new file, it may have a red check mark for a little while until it gets synced. But if you see these little icons look a little different. If you see the one here under SU Sports, there's a little icon that looks like a couple of people next to it. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. so that we can see it better. So you see in my folder called SU Sports, it has an icon that looks like two little people here. Well, that means that folder is shared with others. And the reason this is, I shoot sports photography for Shriner University, and this is actually how we deliver our sports photos to the Shriner Athletics Department. Is we have a Dropbox folder where it's shared, and so I can upload the pictures here in that folder, and the coaches can have access to them, which is real similar to what we're going to do with real estate photos. You'll notice too, the public folder has a little globe icon next to it, letting you know that anything you put in there is accessible to anybody on the internet that has an interest in checking out what's in your public Dropbox folder. So keep that in mind. What I would suggest that you do after you sign up for Dropbox and you have some folders is create a folder for me, and you can click on the new folder button here, and if you were to call it real estate photos or something like that. Now it's mine's sorting it automatically, so it jumped over here, but so here's real estate photos. It's already been created, has a green check mark by it, meaning it's synced to the cloud. Of course, there's nothing inside it yet. So I go inside that folder. This folder is empty, but within here you can create some subfolders. Now maybe a folder for each one of your listings within here. So maybe you have one called 123 Main Street as the address, and you could organize these any way you want to, but usually having an address or something like that is the best way to keep your listing photos organized. So you could create a whole bunch of folders for 321 B Street, just any listings that you might have, 1234 Meadowview or something, a folder for all the different listings that you have here and everything that I'm going to shoot for you. If you could create a folder for each one of those things, then I can upload the photos to inside the 123 Main Street folder for those photos, the B Street folder for those, Meadowview folder for those photos. So if you kind of just have a different folder for every listing that you expect photos, then I can upload them into there for you. So there you go. That's all you need to do as far as creating an account and getting the real estate photos folder prepared for me. In the next step, I'll show you what it looks like after I've uploaded the photos. Take a look at how you can manipulate those and get going with what you need to do with the photos. Okay, so let's say you've hired me to go out and take some photos of a fictional property called 123 Main Street, Anytown, USA. You started out within your Dropbox folder, you created a real estate folders subfolder, and then you created subfolders within that subfolder, one of which being 123 Main Street, and you hired me to go out and take the real estate photos for 123 Main Street. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out, take the photos, get them on my computer, do the post-processing that I need to do to them to get them ready, export them into a file size and format that you personally are familiar with and that you like, and then I'm going to upload them to this Dropbox folder. In a little while we're going to teach you how to share the folder with me, but for right now let's just pretend like that's already done. I've got the files uploaded for you, and I send you an email maybe with the invoice and saying, hey, by the way, I uploaded the photos to your 123 Main Street Dropbox folder, so thank you for your time, and you're welcome to start using the photos. Well, then you go inside here, we go inside 123 Main Street, and then we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 photos, which obviously are not from the same property, nor are they 123 Main Street of anywhere, but just to give you an idea, these are a few photos that are inside here. Now if you'll notice, these files, this is not on the internet or anything like that. These are files that are on my own computer. They're within my Dropbox folder, meaning they're synced to the cloud and they're synced to my other devices, but they're actual JPEG image files that are available for me to manipulate here on my local computer. And if we look down at the description for each one, we can see the dimensions and the file size, has the author with my name on there and stuff like that. But for each one, we can see file name and dimensions and file size. So these are stored on my own computer. So like if I were to double click on one of these to be able to preview it, sure enough, here's the image preview window, and it's got an image here that I can manipulate however I like to at this point. I can preview it. I can even scroll through the other images that are within that folder by pushing this little next arrow down here, and I can just kind of take a look at all the photos that I uploaded for you. So once you've looked through them and you're happy with what they look like, keep in mind you could change the display of the photos. You could click extra large icons so that you could see them all a little bit bigger. Now these photos are yours. They're available for you to start making flyers. They're available for you to start uploading to the MLS and to Realtor.com. You didn't have to do any copy and pasting. You didn't have to save any email attachments. You didn't have to get a disk from me. and copy them to your own home computer. That was all done for you, and the photos just through the magic of the internet and technology have appeared for you on your screen, ready for you to start doing work with. In the next segment of this video, I'm going to show you how to share that folder with me so that I can be able to do this for you. Okay, now that you're sold on how Dropbox works and you understand how much easier it's going to be for you to take delivery of your real estate photos using Dropbox, let's show you how to share the real estate folder's photo with me so that I can have access to that folder on your computer so that I can upload the photos that you need to take advantage of this service. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to right click on the real estate photos folder, and when you do, that brings up what we call a context menu. When you right click, depending on what it is you've right clicked on, it brings up some different options available to you. Everybody's drop down menu is going to be a little bit different, but when you're within the Dropbox folder, there's going to be this Dropbox flyout here. When you hover over that, another little flyout comes out, and there's some different options, one of which is share this folder. And when you click share this folder, it's going to launch a web browser for you, and let me slide this over so you can see it. So it's going to launch an internet browser for you again, and it's going to say, okay, you have asked us to share the real estate photos folder with others, which means you're going to invite collaborators to use this folder. So now it's going to say add names or emails. At this point, if you knew my email address, which is aaron@txpsv.com, you could type that in there, aaron@txpsv.com for the email address, and then you could type a little message that's going to go along with the email saying, here is my folder for real estate photos. Please upload all photos to the appropriate listing subfolder with it, or something like that. And now this is up to you. Allow members to invite other people. If you're sharing this with me, I don't need that checked because I'm not going to be inviting other members to collaborate with your real estate photos. I'm only going to be uploading them for your own personal use, so you don't have to check that box. If you were sharing this with some other people in your office, that'd be up to you whether or not you want to allow people you invite to then go ahead and invite other people at that point. But once you hit share folder right there, it's going to send an email out to that person saying the shared folder real estate photos has been created, and you can at that point use the shared folder with me. This is the online web version of the Dropbox account, which now that we mention it, you ought to be familiar with too. This is all the subfolders within real estate photos. If you click the Dropbox button, this is going to go back to your main Dropbox folders, which is going to be real similar to what we saw on our own personal computer here, but you also have this web version there that you can use so that if you're browsing from another computer or anything like that, you still have access to those files once you log in. So that's been a brief overview of how Dropbox works. If you have any questions, shoot me an email at aaron@kerrvillephoto.com or give me a ring at 830-214-7635. Thank you for watching.